Welcome, everyone. This is Fun News, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Terry Adwin,
Hi, hi.
Arendis,
Hey, everybody.
and Sanswinda.
Hello.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to February. And we are going to begin with some release notes 25.3.1. And in this update, we have first for items, the Steed of Minasitu hero now has plus 68% speed and 250 morale. In other words, like many other rep horses, I would presume then that meant it was a little short of the usual at that point. And the Adventurers and Travelers loot boxes feature new cosmetic items, including a new elegant riding attire, cosmetic pets, including a husky wolf dog,
Yes.
a great
Please.
You've been waiting for that one, apparently.
Yes, I have. I'm so excited.
Yes. A gray cat and a flying fox bat, a hunting steed and war steed cosmetics, and pheasant display housing items. These items can also be acquired from Myrtle Mint for Figments of Splendor. Rowan Raspberry is retiring for the season on February 5th, 2020. And that will be 4 days from this recording. As for quest and adventure areas, bar near the Houses of Lamentation, they fixed an issue where Agatkali and or Morloth could reset continuously. Agatkali skills now play correctly during the encounter. The Morloth encounter now awards marks and medallions. Barrier walls from the Morloth and Agatkali encounters now reset properly. Some kneelers there are now properly inactive at the start of the 6-person version of the instance, and corrected an issue that prevented the discovery deed from completing. House's Lamentation can now be accessed from the landscape. The Fallen Kings, some monster spawns now properly clean up when the fight is reset. Okay. And the Halls of Black Lore correct an issue where the quest will not bestow properly for the 2-player version of the instance. As for UI, they fixed some string errors relating to the changing crafting vocations. They fixed a crafting performance problem where that would cause a hitch upon completion of the craft item. A slight hitch may still occur when your proficiency in mastery level changes. Corrected an issue where crafting recipe totals would not update to match carry-all bag quantities. And the carry icons have been updated to more clearly indicate their size and purpose. Well, I guess I hadn't paid attention to that since then if I didn't notice that.
I told you that yesterday.
Yeah, I guess because I think it's the second time they updated the carry-all appearance, so I thought you were referring to the first time, not the...
No.
Okay. Well, and the LOTRO game launcher news feed has returned. And as for miscellaneous, they corrected an animation issue with some human male hunter skills and auto attacks. They corrected some French and German translation issues, and they corrected an issue where the 64-bit client would not function on some new installations. So now that means that 64-bit client should work, though I tried using the 64-bit client this week, and then I remembered why I stopped using it. And that's because whenever I exit from the 64-bit client, it does not refresh the server list. Which means that if you go around switching servers, you've got to exit completely and then restart the game. And that's very inconvenient. So I'm back to 32-bit.
You don't have to do that on the 32-bit?
Oh, no, I've never had to do that on the 32-bit.
No, you can leave the
Hmm.
launcher open.
Yeah, I leave the launcher open, but in the 64-bit, if you leave the launcher open, it keeps the same thing that it says while you are playing. In other words, that the client is already open, so
Okay.
it doesn't do me any good if I leave it open.
Weird,
And
because I don't have that problem.
you're on the 64,
Mm-hmm.
and you're saying that if you exit, you have no trouble switching immediately to another server.
Well, I don't know because I haven't actually tried, but I mean, it doesn't say that another instance is running. But I also have dual boxing selected,
Yeah.
so maybe that's why it doesn't give me that error.
Hmm.
I mean, I
Well,
don't
that's a
dual box, but I
possibility.
have that option available.
Oh, yes, but then if you have dual boxing enabled, that means it's expect you'd be logging in again if you're going to open up a second client anyway.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't have mine set up for doing that since I don't want to log in again. I just want to click on a server and start.
Oh,
And,
see, when I log in, it immediately goes back to the login screen. It doesn't stay on the server list.
oh,
It's never done that for me.
that's because you've got it for multi-boxing set up. Because that's what we'll do for multi-boxing because you need the login screen for multi-boxing.
Yeah, and it never did the other thing. It always told me that I had another instance running. It would never leave the launcher open.
Yeah, for me, I have things set up so it will leave the launcher open. And now, when I am actually playing on a server, it gives me that. But as soon as I exit of that, the screen refreshes and gives me the server list again. So I don't have to log in again. I just have to click on the new server.
Hmm.
And that's what I do on the 32-bit.
That's how you change servers so fast.
Yeah, that's how I change servers so fast. It helps a lot if I accidentally log into the wrong server during the field trip or something like that. We also have a
It
little bit of news
doesn't make a
concern.
difference for me because it takes so long for the game to exit in the first place that I can log into the launcher again and still be waiting.
There is that. Then the next bit of news is that Rohan on Legendary Server is currently slated to begin on the second week of February, which is the week that ends with Valentine's Day.
That's a good time to be in Rohan. Rohan
Yes.
for Valentine's Day.
Now, that, of course, is what they're currently planning. I'm sure that it's not yet been officially announced or fully announced because they just said it's tentative, and that's because there's always a possibility that some hiccup could happen in preparing the landscapes or something like this, because I'm pretty sure there will have to be an update to the game in order to get the new landscape changes in there, and most likely that'll be an update. My guess is that it'll be coming out, barring hiccups, on February 11th, which means that we'll probably get an update on February 11th, and when it comes back up, we'll have it, but it could be 1 or 2 days after that.
Depending on whether or not they break something in the process.
Yeah, it all depends on whether or not they break something in the process, which is an important matter on there. And then we can have, it's said that we may be seeing in the near future some landscape changes that may give us a hint as to where the new housing areas will be whenever they come around.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting those landscape changes to come with the release of Rohan. So we'll see if I'm right on that matter. Now for the LOTRO Beacon 146, where it looks like we have another look. Looks like something from inside Minas Morgul
Mm-hmm.
that we've got there. The usual spooky glow that you've got there.
It's
And
very pretty.
that's the thing
Mm-hmm.
about Minas Morgul. It has this creepy prettiness to it.
Yeah, I say this every time we're in there. It's very pretty. It's creepy as heck, but it's very pretty.
Yes, which means that when they start to clean it up, there will be some hope that remember what it will look like once they actually clean the place up and get rid of all that dead sickness from it. Let's get into the community spotlights. The creator of Beneath Your Feet podcast has uploaded the archive of the Classic LOTRO podcast to Anchor.
You know that already.
Right?
We talked
And
about
then,
it last week.
oh, that's right. We did talk about that last week. Well, apparently it hit the community spotlight this week. And the LOTRO Companion has been updated to version 12. This player-created plugin offers a wealth of information and data, and you can learn more about it by clicking on the link provided. Gizelda has created a browser version of the LOTRO ratings calculator. And the Purple Pipeweed Parlor Band is kicking off a new classical music series in the coming weeks, and there'll be a schedule in the link in the LOTRO Beacon.
Still love that kin name.
That's pretty great. Say that 3 times fast.
Well, I had enough trouble
Pineleaf can't even say it one time fast.
Let's then head into our player spotlight, where Fibro Jedi has created a new LOTRO beginner's guide.
Awesome.
And I presume that will then go along with all those other guides that he's been creating.
Yeah, this one's specifically about gear, and it looks like it's really, really in depth. So I'll definitely be checking this out because I'm still learning.
Well, if anyone's seen my gear, they'll probably say that I'm still learning. So let's enter.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Let's enter our weekly comment. Is what is the one thing you want the world to know about your current main character? Well, seeing that we run a podcast on this, it sounds like we've already told the world what there is to know. Right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. I think we've already covered it.
I mean, that's a very broad question. I mean, that could be... Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's sort of like we could say, if Sarissa were Terry Edmonds' main player, the actual way she's been playing Sarissa a lot lately, it could almost be. But if we're talking about Sarissa, we could say it's the other minstrel.
No, she's actually pretty proud of her burglarness.
Okay.
The LOTRO version, as opposed to the Free Folk version, which was very definitely adamant that she was a minstrel.
I mean, I think for Sans, it's either something about how awesome Hobbit hunters are, or how much she doesn't like spiders, but I'm not going to speak.
Both of those were on my mind. I was going to say fierce Hobbit hunter who'd prefer to burn all the spiders down.
Nice.
Pineleaf is the tastiest Hobbit in Middle Earth. He may not want Pineleaf may not want the world to know this, but as the female human champion that travels with two hobbits, one is a hunter, one is a warden, Pineleaf is definitely the tastier of the two, because it doesn't matter what the enemy is, unless Sans is shooting first. Pineleaf is always the tastier hobbit. The enemies will always go after Pineleaf first.
Well, I am a warden. I'm supposed to be pretending I'm tastier. Right? That's the job of a warden?
Yeah, but do you actually run around in tanking stance, though?
Yes.
Oh, well then maybe.
So it's all just a very complicated... You're quote unquote the tastiest.
Pineleaf is tasty on purpose.
There you go. The purposefully.
So Pineleaf should really stop complaining that the monsters come after him first.
I don't complain. You're the one who complains about it usually, don't you?
I don't complain about it. I just observe. Like, we can all three go past the same mob at the exact same distance, and Sans and I will not attract attention, and Pineleaf, for whatever reason, does. And we're in the exact same spot as we go by it. I do not know how this happens.
Well,
It
there's
is
always
kind
that
of funny.
possibility. Let's head into fan site news. And last week, the focus was on Pineleaf's casual raiders in the previous LOTRO Players news. And LOTRO Stream is a great place to begin your search for LOTRO live streamers on Twitch. Check out recent shows by Winnie, Shinzon, and Adventures After Dark. And also on Twitch, Hope Joel looks for an exit, Oak Milo adventures as a family, and Lariana lounges. Over on YouTube, and Dang has tips to get good gear. And Just the Ding runs Fallen Kings, and Nether Fighter starts streaming LOTRO. And then, for our screenshot of the week, thanks Hershey for sending in this week's screenshot, looking out on a worst deed, obviously. Or is that a worst deed? Or?
Nope, it's not bulky enough for a Warstein.
Oh, okay.
That's up at Hengstacer, by the way, in case anybody's curious.
Okay, over at Hank Stacer's farm. It's a very fancy horse. When there's a flag on there, I don't outrun with too many flag horses, so I don't recognize them all, apparently.
I like how they coordinated the flag with their cloak. Or like the outfit has more of a redder theme, kind of goes with.
Mm-hmm.
Ozzy must have dyed it since it looks like a White Hand prisoner's cloak.
I don't think so. I think it's a little too fancy for the prisoner's cloak.
Oh, then.
I don't know.
I mean, it definitely has a white hand on it.
Yeah, it definitely has a white hand. I didn't think there was any other cloak with a white hand on it.
I don't think prisoners get a cloak, do they?
I thought that was one of the cosmetics you get. Yeah, I'll have to check through my cosmetics.
I have to go back there and look. But that's definitely up at Hengstacer, because that's one of the flags for the race over to the right.
Oh, yeah.
And then the ruin to the left is the place where What's-His-Face has lost his backpack.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And that concludes our game news. So let's head into the store sales. And Terry, what's on sale this week?
Well, we've got a Welcome Back weekend, which is the LOTRO bonus days, gives you a 25% XP boost now through February 2nd for the weekend. Reclaim Middle-earth, get 25% off expansions and expansion quests in-game only, so only through the store. Enhanced XP supply and Hornburg tokens, in case you're not getting enough XP. Skirmishes and instances, 100% mark acquisition boosts now through February 6th, and then the weekly coupon gets you a free Tome of Defense for 90 minutes with coupon code DEFENSEWINS now through February 7th. Why the 7th?
Because that's a Friday?
Because reasons.
Yeah, but normally the coupon goes the same time the sale does.
Oh, you do have a point with that.
I'm confused.
Yeah, that is a little confusing.
Maybe it's because it stops at like February 7th at 3 a.m. and it doesn't say that in there.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm confused.
Alright, it's a little bit confusing. Either that or one of them is a typo. Well, let's head to our site news where we have Where's Emeralina number 40.
I didn't realize she was on.
Yeah, she's been busily going all around the place.
Yeah, very, very diligent with the Warren Miller Thumbelina series.
Yes. And previous post was on the side of the exterior of the main gate of Aldburg. And this week, well, that's of course for us to try to figure out. So looks like she's in a plum mood.
Yes, that's the Shire plum dye
That you boycott.
that I boycott.
Yes.
On the scale of 1 to yellow, where does this land on the Terry Adwin diet?
I mean, it's fine if other people want to use it, but I will never advocate using it because it's a festival dye that you can't craft.
Yeah, those are the ones you can't craft. So she wants the festival to say that you can at least have a chance of maybe earning the recipe during the festival or something like that.
Yeah.
Now, after this, I was wondering about the next update. Now, when I say next update, I mean the next major one. I don't mean because 25.4 is probably going to be the Shell update. But when we get to 26 and 27, in other words, our small place that we are going to go to next and the next big place, does anyone have any guesses as to where we're going? I want to have our guesses out on record before they release the producer's letter, which is
we're going to go ride a Mumak.
I
really hope we're going to go ride a Mumak.
So you're saying we're going down to Harrod?
I mean, it's hard to say because we haven't done our spoilery episode of the review yet. Yeah. But based on kind of where we left off, I would love to go to Harad and go south. I am dying to go east. I don't think they're going to let us go east, so actually Harad is the more likely choice. Or,
I mean, we might go to a wedding, but I want to chase Karsgar.
Yeah, there is that. That's the thing is, I think that until we go to the wedding, we can't go east.
You think? I really think we probably still could, because there's plenty of clues to the east, because we know that there's something going on there. We've had lots and lots of clues drop that there's something going on there. The other thing is, I mean, we still could go north-ish somewhere looking for Dwarven Eldorado.
That's
it would be cool to find Dwarven Eldorado.
I mean, for like a little bitty update.
Yeah, actually, that's what I'm thinking.
Because actually, I kind of think Harad or the East need to be expansions. So
yes.
for like a little mini update,
the Fargathal or bust,
or like up to Gundabad or something.
That'd be cool.
All right. So how about then the Fargathal then for update 26, and that'll include the wedding. And once the wedding is over with, then we're free to go east. So for number 27, we could have a Easterling expansion.
Yeah, I would really, really love to go east. As much as Sarissa kind of really wants to get her vengeance on at Harad at this point, because man, those aerodromes suck so bad.
Yeah,
for a burglar especially. Just getting disarmed and then stunned for really, really long stuns that if you've used your stun get out of, you can't get out of, and they take forever and a day to wear off.
Yeah.
They're so awful.
Yeah,
so Sarissa would really love to get her vengeance on at Harad, but Terry kind of really wants to go east.
I want to ride a Mumak.
Yeah, so Sans obviously wants to go to Harad. And I
actually don't mind if the Mumak's in Gondor somewhere or in the Fargathal and it like ran away from the battle and got tamed.
There is that tame one that we had back in the Minas Tirith days.
It's true, and I don't know what happened to it, but I want to ride
Maybe
it.
we could ride that to the wedding.
That would be awesome.
That would be amazing.
Count me in for replaying that so many times. I mean, I'm a hobbit though, so I could technically ride my little pet Mumok too. I mean, if riding a big one is too much trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's my conclusion. All right, so we all have our little opinion. I do want to go east, but as I said, I think that we'll probably have a small update in 26 where we will have maybe the Fargathol plus a wedding. We'll see how far I'm wrong when they finally come out with the producer's letter. I'm sure that you'll say that whatever Piney says, it'll be the opposite.
We'll go west.
What's west?
I don't know. It's the opposite of where Pineleaf wanted to go.
Well, okay, I probably didn't quite mean that.
The Grey Havens are west, so I guess they could open that up and send us back through Eriador, like do Eriador's greatest hits on the way back there.
Yeah, but that'll be a while.
I think there'll be a while before they send us that way.
No, there is still Nirn to consider.
Oh yeah, we haven't seen that.
Could do more Mordor.
I think they should do a break before we do more Mordor.
More Mordor.
Well, Nirn isn't as bad as the rest of the Mordor.
It's true.
Born in Kansas, though.
Nirn might be a good small break before they do an expansion.
But I would rather have the Fargathol, though, as the...
I mean, the Fargathol could be its whole expansion, too. Nobody knows where it is yet.
Well,
that would be interesting.
I guess we could do that. So those are our little... Oh, actually, Erendis, do you have any preference? I know you aren't up to that level yet, but...
Technically, she is now.
Oh.
I don't know. The Mumok writing sounds fun, but I'll have more of an opinion once I actually get there. So for now, mine is...
All right. Then let's head into our new player question. And Erendis, what's the question this week?
Sure. And the wrong terminology when referring to this. That's also part of the question. How does survival barrow downs work? Well, first of all, is that considered a skirmish or an instance? Sorry if that's a silly question, and how does it work?
First off, it is a skirmish.
Gotcha.
It's a rather weird skirmish because it's a survival skirmish, and it's the only one that we have of that type. And the second thing to note, it is the only skirmish that does not have a solo or duo setting. The minimum size for it is 3, so it's either for 3, for 6, or for 12. And it works pretty much on a timer. What happens is that you've got, at the beginning, 2 monsters come in. Then after you kill a monster, then after a certain amount of time, a replacement comes in. So anything you kill is going to have a replacement spawn in afterwards. Then every so often, they add another mob. And when I say add another mob, it's because I said it starts at 2. Then after that, it becomes 3. So when the new mob comes in, that'll be 3. And as I said before, whenever you kill a mob, a replacement comes in. So that's why I'm saying there'll be 3. So that'll be a cap. And eventually, you get a pretty high cap in there where you got mobs coming in all over the place, which really makes the whole thing desperate. So as you go along with the skirmish, there does come a certain point where you hit a peak number. So they stop adding mobs to it, but it takes a while before it gets there. After 5 minutes, a lieutenant comes in. And every 5 minutes after that, another lieutenant comes in. And of course, whenever you kill a lieutenant, there will, of course, be eventually a replacement for the lieutenant killed. So, of course, there will be replacement lieutenants, and you'll, of course, be having however many lieutenants are currently active at the same time. So you're going to have many mobs and many lieutenants all over the place in there. And the object is to last an hour, though you do get the maximum from the point of the dailies, because this is the only skirmish that still has dailies. And there are 6 dailies on those, and you activate one of those dailies once every 5 minutes. So at the end of 30 minutes, you have all of them. And that's when you have everything peaked. There aren't any new additions after that, just replacements, of course, but no new additions after the 5-minute point. But you get your marks based on how long you survive, and you keep on going until everybody's been killed. There are no reses in the skirmish. Actually, there might be. I forgot. Rally might work, but anything, just about anything.
Yeah, you can do a rally, but you can't do.
If you have an in-combat res, it'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But those have cooldowns, so
there's no like res circle point where you can come back from that.
No, you can just get stuck underneath listening to everybody else, and you just sit there and twiddle your thumbs until they're done.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things is that if you're defeated, the recommendation is that you stay in the. You get that 5 minutes before you're automatically spawned out. But as long as you're inside the instant, you will still get marks. So you will continue to get your marks as long as you're there. Now, as soon as that 5 minutes
Sitting
comes
under
out,
the instance does not count.
Yeah, it doesn't count though. So once you're sitting under the instance and no longer enjoying the view of watching your friends get bashed upon. Now, in addition to more mobs coming in, there's also a buff that keeps on being added to the mobs. And this buff makes them stronger, gives them more morale, gives them more attack ability, and makes them faster.
And yes, this is every bit as much fun as it sounds.
It actually does sound.
The longest I've managed to survive in this is about 35 minutes, I think it was.
Oh my gosh.
Now, there used to be a time where the bounds were slightly further out than they are now. And if you were in a warden and you didn't pick up a nasty ranged lieutenant, such as a venomous blood arrow, it was actually possible to kite everyone and going around. Now, eventually you get a lieutenant that's going to kill you or something like that, but I've actually lasted about 30 minutes. And I know at least in the fellowship one, maybe even the raid level one. Then they decided, all right, we've got to tone that down. So they brought in the border slightly. So you can still try kiting, but yeah, someone's going to catch up with you pretty quickly under the circumstances now. So you can't do it.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Because one of the things you did is that if you were able to kite properly and time everything right, in the past it was possible for some of the new lieutenants not to see you. If they never saw you, they just run around in the circle and chasing you the whole thing, and therefore even a venomous blood arrow wouldn't be firing at you because they hadn't seen you yet. But now, yeah, as soon as he's in there, the venomous blood arrow now will see you and start shooting, and you're gone.
Wow.
So yes, I would say maybe you could kite for 5 or 10 minutes. I don't know. I'm sure there's someone out there who does it a lot more effectively than I do, but yeah, you need a real group now in order to do it. And as I said, it's for 3, 6, or 12. And the Survival Battle Downs has a ton of deeds associated with it.
Really?
There are there's a deed to just survive. So there are steps in the deed for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30 minutes. So if you last for 30 minutes, you complete the entire deed. And you got just for doing that, you've got one for doing it at level cap, so I think that one was bugged the last time I checked, where it seems to be too generous in that matter. I think it's checking whether or not you've reached the level that was the cap when they originally set it up, or something like that. Or something like that. They may possibly fix it, but I'm not going to put bets on that. There's one for surviving a certain amount of time without killing any lieutenants, which is crazy. There's one for surviving in a group that has all different classes. In the raid level, though, it's actually at least one of every single class. And there are Slayer deeds in there, like killing mobs either in a single skirmish or cumulative all your time through. Same thing with lieutenants, which obviously doesn't play too well with the one to kill lieutenants. There's one for not using any fellowship maneuvers, which is probably easier today since people are less likely to use them these days.
Mm-hmm. But I don't know if that counts for like, does it count for not using them, or does it count for not even getting the opportunity? Because that would be really hard.
Yeah, I think not getting the opportunity, since that can happen randomly, then I think it is not using any.
Well, that's fine, because it's after level 50, it's kind of pointless to even use them.
Well, and Survival Battle Downs is actually one of the few places where people do sometimes use it, because hitting blue in Survival Battle Downs can help a bit if you're having trouble with power.
Oh, yeah, because you got a bunch of undead stuff.
You've got a bunch of undead. You've got diseases coming around. You know how diseases are draining power these days.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got all sorts of stuff like this. So you're running out of power with this, so you need a way of getting power. So hitting blue on fellowship maneuvers is one common way of handling that. At least unless you've got a lore master. But most likely your lore master might be very busy doing other stuff also, like trying to kill things and keeping people alive. And, of course, making sure that the anti-stun thing is on the tank, which is one of the things they do on there a lot. So, yes, it's a very, very busy skirmish. It's something that I've done on a few occasions, but it's certainly not something that I do on a regular basis. I think it's been maybe once every 6 months or so we might do it. So it's certainly, it has to be something that you're all in the mood to have this, to say, okay, we know we're going to die. Let's see how long we can live. Since I've never been in a group that's actually gone all the way through. In other words, for a full hour. Did I answer your question?
Yes, that was extremely helpful.
Hey, well, then let's into our week in LOTRO, and Arendis, what were you up to?
Well, Pineleaf, I may have goofed. So the live stuff. I haven't been able to play LOTRO as much for the past couple of months. And I thought, recently I have an Aria of the Valar sitting in my inventory from when I purchased the Mordor expansion. And I had put it in my shared storage, so in case I ever needed it, I could use it for an alt or something. And I thought, okay, what would happen if I used that on just a new character, just to see what would happen, because I could hold on to this for forever and I can always get a new one if I need to. So I thought about it for about a week and decided that I was going to. So
Yay!
I did. So I now have a random level 105 character, and I'm still trying to figure out how to get them set up, but I'm kind of looking forward to being able to get to some of the content that I haven't been able to access just because I haven't been able to play as much. So we'll see how that goes. It should be, yeah, we'll see. That was the basic gist of what I did. So, Sans, how was
My week was pretty good. I ran the Deep Barrow instance for the first time. I hadn't been in there before. and I was with Maven and Nitesh, so a lore master and a guardian, and I was on my minstrel, and it was pretty fun. A little bit of a challenge. I lost the guardian once, and I lost the lore master once, and I accidentally pulled a whole room and wiped the group once. But I just wanted to see what was over there, and I didn't think I was close enough to actually like attract any attention. But I was definitely close enough to attract attention. And yeah, that didn't go so well. It actually probably would have gone better if I had had line of sight on everybody still, but I didn't, and so yeah, it's really hard to res somebody that you can't see, or to heal them for that matter. Not that
that does tend
somebody
to be a
has ever
challenge.
told me something about that or not, but
You think?
yeah, I have like so much admiration and respect for Lachillian and her patience with the Hobbit who kept line of sighting her. Yeah.
Can't heal you behind that rock.
Right? I did save Maven once when she was behind a rock, and I finally figured out which rock she was behind and healed her. But no, we finished it pretty strong once we kind of had an idea of what we were doing and where we were going, and yeah, my minstrel definitely needs some new gear, but not half bad for what it was. And Guarendis and I completed the fellowship version of retaking Weathertop on our Yellow Line Hunters that we're running around practicing on.
How overleveled were you for that?
Not.
Really?
Much on level, yeah. And yeah, we were trying to get to like orange quests. I was trying to get to orange quests. But we're still pretty much on level for that, and decided that we might as well open up the Candace Stablemaster routes. So, yeah, we went through, and Guarendis talked me out of gathering a whole group, and she lit a campfire twice. That wasn't necessary for advancing the thing, so that was cool. And she convinced me to not kill one group of mobs too. But we pretty much just demolished everything. Between us and our exploding decoys, it wasn't much of a contest until the end, when the troll was loose and there were 4 pew-pews. And that was that was pretty good. Guarendis said she only talked me out of it twice. She might have tried another time. I was a little bit foolhardy because I was like, hey, we're totally just demolishing everything. Let's do this better. Bigger. More wonderful. But yeah, that was pretty cool. And then finished the Black Book of Mordor on Sanswinda and opened up the towers in Minas Morgul. Oh, I opened up the towers in Minas Morgul on my minstrel too, because we just needed something to go kill and take out some of the instance anxiety on. So yeah, I opened up the towers in Minas Morgul twice this week. So how was your week, Terry?
Mine was actually pretty decent. Terry Adwin finished the Black Book of Mordor for real this time. And complained about most of the epilogue while we were doing the epilogue. Not the story, because the story, I gotta say, the story was great. But I spent a good portion of the epilogue back talking to NPCs. Particularly Gandalf, because Gandalf wanted me to go somewhere that I really didn't want to go. And we ended up going there, but I yelled at him a bunch of times about having to go there. Like I made sure that he knew that I really didn't want to go there. And then we thought we were done, and we weren't actually done. And we had to go to another place that I really didn't want to go, and Gandalf got yelled at again because I really didn't want to go there. But no, we had to go there. So yeah, we've finished all of the story so far, and the story was fantastic. There were definitely some moments that were, oh my god, and then there were some moments that were, oh snap, and then there were some moments that just kind of left you in tears because it was just really heartbreaking and emotional. which we will talk about when we get around to doing our update review. And then we'll talk about it more in detail with spoilers. But I'm not going to do that today. And then ran around Minas Morgul a little bit and opened up towers. That was kind of fun. Because we spent 2 hours on our Tuesday play session literally doing nothing but story. So we were working on the epilogue and it was nothing but story. There's no fighting of anything. It's just all talk. Which is great because the story is great. But by Friday, I was like, yeah, I really need to kill some things. So when we finally finished the epilogue with yet more talking, we ran around Minas Morgul and just killed a bunch of stuff in the Morgul Vale. We got into this orc camp and they're like, yeah, we only need to kill. I'm like, no, just kill it all. Kill everything. So yeah, we went around and killed all the things. And it was awesome. Sarissa has made her way closer to Peligir. She got to Ost Anglebed earlier and stumbled across Aragorn's camp entirely by accident because I had the quest to go meet him, but I wasn't really ready to do it because I wanted to finish up the landscape stuff for Central Gondor before progressing the story further. And no, I ran across him, and it turns out that I had apparently already done the Peligir epic battle on her. I don't remember having done it on her, but I did because it let me progress the story. So now she's up to, she has to go raid a ship. And we're putting that off for future time because I really do still want to finish out the Central Gondor landscape before playing around with other things. But so after Ostanglebed, they send you a couple different places because that's kind of like a mini hub before you get to Peligir. So it was like, check out this town and this other town, and by the way, go down here because there's some strange dude that nobody's really talking about because we're busy worried about the fact that there's all these enemies. And you get there, and it turns out there's Jajax. Ran across Jajax again. So that was great. But it really made me feel that, okay, so my wish for 2020, if they're going to start tweaking stuff in the old content, please, for the love of all things, LOTRO, get Jajax better sound bites because he sounds like a grumpy old man from Bree, and the guy really needs to not sound like a grumpy old man from Bree. Why are you bothering me? Really? No. Pick anything else. Give him a woman's voice for crying out loud. I don't care, but don't make him sound like a grumpy old man from Bree. Because Jajax is awesome. And then to round out my week, Other Champion did a crafting pass and made a bunch of the newest tier of food. So he went through 2 crafting tiers because he was he'd done Doomfold, so he did Ironfold and the Minas Ithil tier. So now Terry actually has on level food again because she's been running around with Doomfold stuff for the last couple updates. And I looked at it and I'm like, I should probably get her something up to date. So I did because I was doing something else, but I didn't want to neglect LOTRO entirely. So I farmed up a bunch of stuff and just went through that, which is awesome to do when you have a crafting carry-all because all of the stuff goes in there. So yeah, and he made Apprentice with the Cook's Guild finally. He's actually got some of the ingredients to progress to the higher levels craft wise. It's just I have this hard time of remembering to log in every day and craft the thing. Because the small ones you have to log in every day and craft the thing. And I tend to not remember to log in on a daily basis. Because I'll skip days and things like that. But yeah, so that was my week. Pineleaf, how was yours?
When you were talking about Jajaxer, I think actually that might be the update that you want, is that for the small update to be against the Corsairs and bring back Jajax.
Yeah, we could do some stuff with Umbar.
Yeah, with something with Umbar. But Umbar sounds like something that might be a tie-in to go into Harad afterwards, which is a disadvantage of going to Umbar, but that's an alternative in there.
Depends on whether they end up deciding that we need to go to Umbar next. Like if they're gonna send us south instead of east, then doing something with the Corsairs and Umbar totally makes sense.
Right. Now, as for what I was doing, on Crick Hollow, my warden there finished up the Black Book, not the epilogues. I just got to the end of the main part of the Black Book there. But Terry Edwin just described our little trip through the Black Book epilogues there. So, yes, I am familiar with that. And in fact, my lore master, who I thought had finished all the epilogues, I did not realize about there was apparently a very ending that I didn't know about because I didn't check on a certain thing at the end. But of course, when we ran into it with Terry and all, I learned about this, so I went back and had my lore masters and finished that up. But then on my stout axe helped the folk in Dolven View as I was doing the early stuff in Moria, then on my stout axe. And then my burglar headed into Wildermore, where things are apparently getting a little bit chilly.
Apparently?
Okay. Are very definitely getting a little bit on the chilly side. Maybe or a lot bit on the chilly side might be a more accurate way of putting it. Now, as for our News Beyond Lotro, for our wallpaper, we've got Darren Loremaster posting Riddles in the Dark stanza number 3, where we have Gollum and Bilbo in the cave telling their riddles. We currently have 14 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious raid of players and help support Lotro players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. We did not receive any emails this week. If you feel like to send us one, you can send it to podcast@LotroPlayers.com, and you can also follow us on Twitter. Players Alliance @PlayersAlly, Lotro Players @LotroPlayers, Arendis @Arendis, Pineleaf @Pineleaf Needles, Senswinda @Senswinda, and Terry Edwin @Terry Edwin. The Players Alliance has 2 shows. On Mondays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News, and on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Lotro Players News. You can join us for our shows at LotroPlayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight, and this is Pilot Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.